This is the AEW Collision March 15, 2025 full show results video which takes place at Las Vegas, Nevada. The show started with the International Championship Eliminator Tournament match between Ricochet vs Katsuyori Shibata. Shibata is sitting in the center of the ring and Ricochet tells him to stand up. Ricochet then goes to kick Shibata, but Shibata moves, then Ricochet chops Shibata, but there is no effect. Shibata then charges at Ricochet and stops and slaps him in his head. Shibata then stomps on Ricochet, Ricochet then recovers, picks up Shibata and drops him on his back, then hits him with a moonsault and a standing shooting star press. Ricochet then covers Shibata, but Shibata kicks out at 2. In the end, Ricochet gets his foot on the ropes as the referee makes the 3 count for the win. After the match, a graphic is shown that Ricochet will join Mike Bailey and Orange Cassidy in a 4-way match that will be held on Dynamite. We then head to the back, where we see the Murder Machines and Mark Davis taking out what looks like a couple of local talents. We then see AEW Women's World Champion Timeless Toni Storm cut a promo as she is ready to collide with Bayne. Storm calls out Bayne as well as anyone else who wants to challenge her for her title. The next match happened between Will Hobbs vs Griff Garrison. Griff runs the ropes and kicks Hobbs, Hobbs then charges back and drops Griff. Preston Vance then comes in and is sent to the floor. Jack Jameson is then sent to the outside as well, and then Hobbs picks up Griff and drops him with a big spinebuster, and won the match by pinfall. After the match, the frat house is looking for a fight, but the music of the Outrunners hits and they make their way down to the ring and send the frat house packing. We then head to the back, where Lexi Nair is interviewing Thunder Rosa about Bayne. Rosa says this business is built on respect and says she is tired of Bayne disrespecting Chris Statlander and Toni Storm. Rosa then says she is going to teach Bayne some respect. Bayne then shows up and takes it to Rosa, then nails her with a huge knee to the ribs. Rosa is down in pain and Lexi checks on Rosa as the segment ends. Then we saw AEW International Championship Eliminator Tournament match between Mark Davis vs Mark Briscoe. We see Briscoe grabs the head of Davis and sends him over the ropes and then runs and flips through the air, landing on Davis. Briscoe then chops Davis, but Davis fires back with some big chops of his own and we get a chop fest between both men. Briscoe then rolls to the floor, Davis then picks up Briscoe, but Briscoe fights off Davis and comes off the apron, then lands on Davis. Briscoe then jumps on the barricade and lands on Davis with a big elbow to the chest. Briscoe then climbs to the top rope, but the Murder Machines come out and Lance Archer distracts the referee. Brian Cage pushes Briscoe off the top rope and Davis picks up Briscoe and hits him with the Borealis for the win. After the match, a graphic lists Orange Cassidy vs Mark Davis vs Ricochet vs Mike Bailey in the 4-way on Dynamite for a shot at the AEW International Championship at Dynasty. Then we saw a 4-on-2 match between Murder Machines vs 4 local talents, and the result of this match was Murder Machines won the match very easily by pinfall. After the match, Cage and Archer continues to rough up the local enhancement talents. Mark Briscoe then makes his way out to help. Powerhouse Hobbs' music then hits and he also makes his way out to fight Cage and Archer. Hobbs and Archer then brawls on the stage and eventually to the back. Cage and Briscoe then brawls in the crowd and eventually out of the arena. Swerve Strickland's music then hits and he makes his way down to the ring and starts off by recapping everything that happened to him last week. Strickland then says Prince Nana is at home safeguarding the embassy robe and then reminds the fans that he won the AEW World title at Dynasty last year, reigning as champion for 4 months, and he will be challenging for the AEW World title at Dynasty this year. Strickland then talks about his relationship with Cope and how Cope helped him to become more dangerous over the years. Strickland then says he will run through him if he was in his way as champion or challenger, and then talks about Jon Moxley and how he is desperate to stay on top. Strickland then says to catch a maniac you have to send a maniac, and then promises to take the world title back at Dynasty. Jon Moxley's music then hits and he makes his way out through the crowd. Moxley then hits Strickland with a crowbar and then hits Strickland with a curb stomp before leaving through the crowd. The camera then follows him outside and Moxley says he is tired of people like Strickland and Jay White trying to close him into a corner. Moxley then says on Dynamite Cope is a dead man. We then head to the back, where Lexi Nair is checking on Thunder Rosa to see if she is able to compete. A trainer is then wrapping Rosa's ribs. Rosa says she will not let Bayne punk her out, and then Rosa cusses and it is censored. The crew, Leo Rush and Action Andretti, make their way out to the stage to watch the next match. Then we saw a match between Top Flight and Hologram vs Lee Moriarty and the Infantry. Dante then tries to tag, but Dean prevents it and clears the corner, then Bravo is in and he drops Dante. We then go backstage as the Beast Mortos and Harley Graham stare each other down. Darius then hits Bravo with a big elbow, then Dean comes off the top rope and hits Darius with a big elbow. Hologram then breaks up a pin attempt, Dante and Dean then go to the floor. Hologram then flies through the air and lands on Lee on the floor. Top Flight then double teams Bravo and Dante covers Dean for the win. After the match, we get a stare down between Dante Martin and the crew. The next match happened between Thunder Rosa versus Megan Bayne. We see Megan Bayne kicks Rosa and picks her up, but Rosa escapes. Rosa then hits Bayne with a big shotgun dropkick, but Bayne still stands on her feet. Rosa then goes up top and comes down with a big shotgun dropkick, sending Bayne to the mat. Rosa then hits Bayne in the chin with a running dropkick. Bayne then rolls to the floor as Rosa sends her into the ring post and slams her head on the steel steps. The action then spills to the stage area and both women battle it out on the rampway. Bayne spins Rosa around and drops her face first on the rampway. Bayne then enters the ring as Rosa crawls to the ring and makes it in at 9. Bayne then picks Rosa up, spins her around with an F5-like move called Feints Decent and drops Rosa, and then Bayne covers Rosa, and won the match by pinfall. After the match, Bayne picks up Rosa and puts her in a backbreaker. Toni Storm's music then hits and she makes her way down to the ring. Storm and Bayne then exchange strikes and Bayne picks up Storm with the Feints Descent and drops Storm. Referees and Chris Statlander then make their way down to the ring. Statlander then helps Rosa to her feet, then Luther and the referees then check on Storm. In the main event of the show, we saw a match between FTR versus Undisputed Kingdom. There was a moment in the match when Kyle O'Reilly is tagged in, but the referee doesn't see it. Dax then drops Strong on his back and covers him for only a 2 count. Eventually, O'Reilly is tagged in and he kicks Cash and Dax. O'Reilly then cinches in the ankle lock on Cash, but Dax breaks it up, then Cash rolls O'Reilly up for only a 2 count. Dax is on the apron and it distracts O'Reilly and then cinches in the ankle lock again on Cash. All 4 men are now exchanging strikes and then Dax pushes O'Reilly into Strong as O'Reilly rolls to the floor. FTR then hits a shatter machine on Strong. Dax then covers Strong for only a 2 count and then hits Strong and sends him to the mat. Dax then grabs Strong and places him on the second turnbuckle. In the end, FTR hits Strong with a shatter machine and covers Strong, and won the match by pinfall. After the match, Cole checks on his guys and Garcia stands with FTR. Cole and Garcia then goes face to face in the middle of the ring to promote their AEW TNT title match for next Saturday. Cole then offers a handshake, which Garcia accepts. Strong and O'Reilly then offers handshakes to FTR, but FTR blows them off again. Garcia then jaw-jacks at Cole from the stage R, while FTR jaw-jacks at O'Reilly and Strong, and the show comes to a close. How much you would rate this week's AEW Collision show? Tell me in the comments, and thanks for watching the video.